Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to build a random code generator. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell to stay up to date with my latest videos. Now let's take a look what we are going to build in this tutorial. So this is what we are going to build in this tutorial. As you can see over here, it shows a new quote with a author name. If you press the next button, it shows you a loader and loads a new quote with a new author name. And if you want to tweet this, just click on this button. It will automatically populate the tweet field, as you can see over here. So for this random code generator, we are going to use this free API which returns an array of objects, and each object contains a text with an author name. This is a very simple API and easy to use. So first we build a complete UI, then we use JavaScript to add codes dynamically. So without any further ado, now let's create a new folder and name it random code generator. And then open this folder with your favorite code editor. I'm going to open this with VS Code Editor. Now our project is open with Visual Code. Now create three files. First is index.html file, second is style.css file, and third one is script.js file. Now open your index.html file and create a simple boilerplate by pressing Shift+1 and hit enter. And then link your CSS file using link tag. After that, link your script file using script tag, and inside source type script.js like this. And after that, change the title to random code generator. Okay, now save it and then open this file with live server. Just click on this. Now our HTML file is open in our browser. Now minimize this browser and this code editor and place it side by side. Now let's create a div with a class of container. And inside this container, I am going to add a quotes icon. So for this, I am going to use fontawesome.com. Before searching for icon, I have to add a font awesome CDN. Just go to cdn.js. I will attach the link in the description and copy this one and place it over here like this. Now go to fontawesome.com and search for quote icon. I am going to use this one. Just click on it and copy this text and paste it over here like this. Now open your HTML file. As you can see over here, this is our icon. Now add an h1 tag with a class of quote like this, and inside this place any of the code. I am going to paste this one. Just copy it and paste it over here. After that, create a horizontal row by adding hr tag, and after that create a p tag with a author class like this, and inside this place this author name like this and save the file. As you can see over here, we have successfully added a quote and an author name. Later on in this tutorial, we will add this quotes and an author name dynamically using JavaScript. And after that, create a div with a buttons class like this, and inside this button tag, first add a anchor tag so we can share a tweet on Twitter. So for this, go to this website. I will give the link in the description, and then select this code. Just copy it and paste it over here. And after that, create a button with a class of next and name it next like this. Now open your index.html file. Now this is all of our HTML part. Now open style.css to add some styling to it. So first, remove all the default padding and margin like this. Padding set to be 0 and margin set to 0, and box sizing set to border box like this. And after that, create a CSS color variable at the root like this, root, and name your variable. First is primary color, and type your color name #364BA7, and second one is secondary color, and value is #F583A7 like this. So we are going to use only these color for this project. And after that, add a font family. So go to fonts.google.com and search for Quicksand. And this is our font which we are going to use. Just select a bold 700 and go to import and then select this code and paste it at the top of our CSS file like this, and then copy this code and paste it over here. So now go to our index.html file. As you can see, now our font is completely changed. After that, add a background image into the body tag. So for this, I go to heropatterns.com and search for bubbles. This is the background which we are going to use. Just copy the CSS and paste it over here. Now go to our index.html file. As you can see over here, our background is completely changed. Now inside the body tag, give it a display of flex and align the items to center like this, and then add justify content to center like this, and then give it a height of 100 viewport. So it will center our text to the middle. Here I am using flexbox and align atom center this content horizontally, and justify content center this div vertically, and then select a container div like this and give it a display of flex like this, and then change the flex direction to column. By default flex direction is row, but we want it to column. After that, align the atoms to center like this and add some padding around it of 20 pixel, and after that give a box shadow property and give a shadow of 0, 2 pixel, 8 pixel, RGBA 0, 0, 0 and 0.6 like this. As you can see, now our box shadow property is applied. Now add border radius property to make rounded corners and give it a value of 10 pixel. As you can see, now our corners are rounded. After that, give this container a width of 600 pixels and give it a background color of RGBA 255, 255, 255 and 0.3. As you can see, now our background color is applied and our container is now a width of 600 pixels. And after that, give it a margin of 10 pixel like this. Now select this icon, just copy the class from here and paste it over here. Now give it a font size of 84 pixels. As you can see over, now our font size is little bigger, and give it a color of dash secondary color. I think I wrote the spelling of color incorrectly, so just fix it. Go here and change it to color. Just save it and change it here as well like this. Now as you can see, our icon color is changed. Now after that, target this quote with its quotes class. Just type quote and give text align to center like this. It will center the whole text, and then add font style to italic like this, and then give it a color dash primary. Now our color is changed. Now change the color of the author name and increase the font size. So select it by author class and give it a color of dash secondary like this, and font size of 20 pixel like this. As you can see, now its color is changed and font size increases a little bit. Now select this HR tag so we can add a border between this quote and an author name. So select it using HR and give it a margin of 10 pixel top and bottom, and left right make it 0, and then give it width of 60% like this. Now you can see a border between these two, and now give it a color using border property. Give it a border of 1 pixel, make it solid, and give it a color 364BA788 and save it. Now it looks much better. Now target this button div and make these two a little better. So now select this button class and then give it a width of 100%, so it will take the whole width of this container. And after that give it a display of flex like this, and then add justify content space between, so it will add a space between these two buttons. Now give it a align item center property, so it will center these two buttons. Now give some margin top to these buttons, margin dash top, and give it a 10 pixel value. I think now it looks much better. Now transform this link to a button. So for this select tutor dash share button and add text decoration to none, so it remove all the default decoration like this. Now it remove all the default styling from the anchor tag, and now give it a font size of 20 pixels. Now give it a background color and give it a value of primary dash color. Okay, now give some padding of 10 pixels. Now give it a color dash secondary color. Now add border radius property to make corners rounded and give it a value of 4 pixels. As you can see, now our border becomes rounded. Now style this button, just go down and select the buttons, and inside this button select this button, and first give it a cursor or pointer, so when we hover over it, it changes to a pointer. And after that add border property and set it to none, so it will remove the border from this button, and give it a secondary color like this, and give it a font size of 20 pixels like this, and give it a font weight of 700, and after that give it a background color of primary like this. Now give some padding around it of 10 pixels, and then make the corners rounded using border radius property and give it a 4 pixel. Now as you can see, now our both the buttons looks much better than before, and our whole UI looks much better. Before moving further, if we click on this button, it shows you an outline of black color. So to remove this outline, we first select a button on focus state like this, and then give it a outline of none like this. So now if you click on this button, it does not show a black outline. So now the UI looks much better. So now add some JavaScript to add these codes dynamically. So just go to script.js file. First create a function called getCode, and inside this function we need to fetch this API to get all the codes. So just copy this link and use fetch method to fetch the API like this. Paste the link over here. So this fetch method returns a promise, so we need to use async await to handle the promises very easily. Just add async before this function and await before the fetch method, and save the response inside the response variable like this. So after getting the response, we have to change it to JSON. So type jrs.json. This will convert it to a JSON and then store it inside a variable called quotes like this. And this also returns a promise, so we need to use await keyword before this. Now I'm going to explain you how does this code work. So first, this fetch method returns a promise, so we need to handle it using await keyword. Whenever our promise is resolved, it gets stored inside this variable. After that, we convert it into JSON format, and this also returns a promise, so we need to add await keyword to handle the promise, and whenever the promise will get resolved, we will save it inside this code object. Now do console.logs so that we can see what we are getting inside this quote array. So just call this function over here, get quotes, like this. Now press Ctrl+Shift+I to open dev console. As you can see over here, it returns an array like this, and each object contains an author name and a text, which we are going to use. Now what we want is, instead of getting a whole array, we want only single quote. So for this purpose, I am going to use math.random method to access a particular object inside this big array. So for this, use math.random and multiply it by quotes.length, so we can only get those numbers which are inside that array length, and then store it inside a variable called const num, like this. Now do console.logs to see what we are getting inside this num. Now open your dev console. As you can see over here, it returns a real number, but we want an integer to access a particular index of an array. So for this purpose, wrap this code inside a math.floor method, like this, math.floor, like this. Now you can see in the console it returns an integer. If you refresh the page again, it will give a new number. Now it gives 1320. Instead of console.log, we have to access a particular index inside this quotes array. So for this, use quotes and use bracket notation and type num to access a random quote, and then save this quote inside an item variable, like this. Now if you console.log this item, it will return an object with an author name and a text, like this. If you refresh the page again, you will see a different quote with a different author name. So just comment this out for now. Now go to top over script file and select this quotes class and author class so that we can change these two using JavaScript. Const text is equal to document dot query selector and select a class of quote. After that, give const author is equal to document dot query selector and select a author class, like this. And after that, change this code and an author name dynamically. So in order to change this, first we need to store the author name and text from the return object. Just create a new variable and name it quote item.text to exit that particular quote. Now save the author name inside the variable called author name and set it equal to item.author, like this, and save it. Now we have access to quote and author name. Now time to change it dynamically, so that for this purpose we have to use these two to change the quote and author name dynamically. So first change the quote text and use inner text property to change the inner text of this quote class and make it equal to quote, and after that select author and change inner text using inner text property and make it equal to author name variable, like this. Now save the file to see the changes. Now as you can see over here, a new code with its author name. Now if you refresh the page, you will see a new code like this. Now refresh it again. As you can see over, first it will show a default code which we wrote over here. So just delete this and delete the author name, like this. So now we are getting a random code with its author name. Now time to make this next button working. So go to your script.js file and select this next button over here, const next btn, and select it using document dot query selector and select that next button using next class like this. Now add a click event listener, so whenever we click on this next button, it will change this code and an author name dynamically. So for this, select this next button and add event listener to it, and it listen for a click like this, and whenever we click it will run get quote function like this. So just click on this next button, it will fetch a new code with its author name like this. So next thing, we have to make this tweet button working. So in order to make this tweet button working, we need to change this href value. This is pretty easy to change href value using JavaScript. So first select this, copy this class and create a new variable and name it tweet btn and make it equal to document.querySelector like this. And after that, go inside this getQuote function and then type tweet button dot href to change the href value and make it equal to a template string so that we can change a tweet dynamically. So for this purpose, just go over here and select this link like this and paste it over here. So we just need to change this tag dynamically. So just delete this tag and use template string like this. First put quote variable inside this like this, and then add dash, and after that put a author name like this and save it. Now if you click on this tweet button, it will tweet this tweet with an author name. Just click on this. As you can see over here, it automatically populates the tweet field. Just go back to your application. Okay, now our whole functionality is working fine.